Here's the deal, right? You guys have all been watching the news because, of course, it's fast and furious, as we know. It's not just wartime propaganda. It's also an election year, which we talked about quite a lot on Troubled Minds. But there's a really strange wrinkle to this, of course, because it's changing. The world is becoming really weird really fast with the deep fake stuff and, you know, sort of these fractured realities we're always talking about. But in the larger sense of this, we're getting, you know, these sort of transcendent weapons, or, you know, these the Russian space weapon that kind of came out as I was driving around yesterday. Everybody was talking about it on the radio, and, you know, the whatever the thing is. Well, we'll get to that in just a sec, which is absolutely wild to consider, right? And we're talking now suddenly space weapons and nukes in space. And I mean, where's my thing? I need like a voice changer that like makes me go like nukes in space. Kind of feels like, let's see, do I have one of these? Let's see, do I have that? So let's try this. Nukes in space. Yeah, it's terrible. But yeah, something like that, right? It's just that, whatever. It annoys me that we're dealing with more propaganda, like an unbelievable amount of propaganda here. And the worst part is that I don't really know what's going on. I really have no idea, because usually, you know, you can kind of glean a little bit of truth from some of this. So let's do a thought experiment tonight and kind of see where you're at with this and what you're thinking, because there's a ton of ways to look at it, and I'll get to some of that in a minute. But as you know, the biggest news yesterday was this from The Guardian. Many people reported it. Senior U.S. official warns of security threat amid reports of Russian nuclear capability in space. Now, this leaked out early in the morning. It was put out by a presser, or a statement by Mike Turner, an Ohio Republican. I know, boo, they both suck. But anyway, meaning both Republicans and Democrats. But talking to reporters at the White House later on Wednesday, the National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, expressed surprise at Turner's statement. Okay, well, where is the statement? Hold on. He said, let's see, he was basically calling on the Biden administration to declassify some information from the Gang of Eight to put it out to the whole House and all of Congress to discuss what to do next. And he called this a serious national security threat. All right, let's see. What was the actual thing, the verbiage here? Whatever. It didn't matter. You guys have all seen it to this point, and there's a lot of articles talking about this. Okay, but here's the thing. It turned out that it was one of those things where we're like, oh yeah, you know, it's going to be, the first statement was, yeah, this could be really bad, and we got to do something about this now. And then it was like, people were starting to freak out a little bit in the press corps, and then he was like, oh, well, it's nothing to worry about right now, you know, not right now, but, you know, kind of down the road now, type of thing. And so it's like, you know, no, nobody needs to think like aliens are landing. I think he said Martians are here or something. Nobody needs to think Martians are here. But anyway, so point is, this is what was rolling out yesterday. I'm sure you guys have seen some of these headlines and some of this news. Maybe you've been following this closely. But the weird part is this. Is, like I said, even though all this has kind of rolled out and become a thing now, I don't even know what's what anymore. So we're told that Russia has some sort of actual, satellite killer with possible nuclear capabilities. I mean, we're talking like orbital satellite bombardment technology, like just really weird things. Okay, which to me is like, okay, well, that sounds scary, and I'm shocked we don't have that ourselves at this point. I remember 1985ish or so when they were, or what was it, 83, 84, 85, when they were talking about the Strategic Defense Initiative, which they called Star Wars. Remember all that as a pejorative? I mean, yeah, like talking about sort of arming space or using it as a defensive net or things like this have been around for a long time. So in the sense of really saying, okay, well, does Russia have this stuff in space? Well, I don't know, and then we're told that it's not real. And, first it's like, well, it's not a thing yet, but they're working on, putting something up in the thing. And yeah, Carla's got it right. Fear not, for he has overcome the world. Yes, indeed. And so here's the deal, right? I don't even know what to think because, again, this is propaganda, and there's a lot of ways to consider this. And number one, let's look at it this way. They were trying to pass that, and this is just a little politics for a sec, so everybody relax, everybody chill. Everybody hang tight. I'm not going to talk politics tonight, but let's say the politician, or let's say the political pundit, would be like, well, they're just trying to drum up some anti-Russia sentiment, to get the funding to Ukraine or whatever through Congress, right? Like that type of conspiracy, and it's like the gamesmanship, kind of ratchet up the fear, saber rattle to your own folks, your own people, and then suddenly people will support, get Russia. And look, I'm not saying either that Russia's nice or they should be, left alone or anything. I'm just saying, like, it's complicated and I don't really have a take there and I don't want to get into that. But the thing that got me was what is actually happening here? So is it some sort of saber rattling from within to pass a budget? Okay, but then also another thing happened on the interwebs that people were like, yep, it's space, knew it, it's something to do with UFOs. You see what I'm getting at? There's a lot of ways to look at this. And suddenly now you start fracturing realities with this mistaken identity, as I'm calling this tonight. And you got to wonder what the hell's really happening out there, because you ask. Sadly enough, like I always say, if you do it right on Troubled Minds, if you ask 1,000 people the right question, you're likely to get 1,000 different answers. But when we're talking in the realm of geopolitics, and we're talking about I don't know, let's say possible transcendent technologies that will completely change the course of whoever really owns the earth because of a first strike type of capability. That if you're second, you're screwed. We shouldn't be so fractured where the conspiracy theorists are saying one thing, the ufologists are saying another thing, the political pundits are saying something else, the people in Congress are saying something else. And I mean, it goes on and on and on down the list, right? And that's exactly what's on my mind tonight in terms of this. Like, how do we look at this and what exactly is happening? Because I truly don't know. It's difficult for me to figure out because one, I'm not super good at figuring out things without all the information, right? Or at least, I can kind of maybe squint my eyes and say, well, maybe this or maybe that. But there's still a ton of information we don't know about all this stuff. And that's the part that drives me a little bit batty because, we're getting the fearmonger bit. Once again, we're getting that saber rattling from within even and saying, Russia, Russia, Russia again. And it's like, come on now. At some point, we have this, Orwellian endless war, and we're fighting against Emmanuel Goldstein with Big Brother on our side, who's actually watching us. I mean, it's literally become that. It's just absurd. Anyway, so that's what's on my mind tonight. So the first question is this for you guys: what the hell is going on with this? What exactly is happening? That's the thing that bothers me the most, is I have no clue. The ufologists are saying UFOs. The political pundits are saying, yeah, get Russia. The conspiracy theorists are like, well, maybe all of the above. I don't know. I don't really know. In the past 24 hours, straight from the write-up here, if you guys are interested in some of the information, where I got it from, write-up's going to be down below, and all the links are in the description as always. But in the past 24 hours, several news sources and Twitter accounts have reported on a potential new space-based anti-satellite weapon being developed by Russia. This development has raised concerns about the impact on U.S. national security and the security of other nations. According to ABC News, the U.S. Department of Defense warned in 2023 that Russia had been testing space-based kinetic anti-satellite capabilities, or ASAT. This revelation has sparked discussions in the U.S. Senate Intelligence Committee, with Chairman Mark Warner and Vice Chairman Marco Rubio releasing a statement acknowledging the threat to U.S. national security posed by this new Russian capability. Twitter accounts such as Aviation Intel, at Iran Observer Zero, and Scent Defender have shared updates and speculations on the nature of this new Russian weapon. Some believe it may be a functional orbital bombardment system, which is very Star Wars, an orbital nuclear weapons delivery platform, which is very Doomsday, and of course, or a new orbital ASAT capability, like we were just discussing there, just a bit above. The potential threat to U.S. satellites and other space-based systems has garnered significant attention, with some sources suggesting that the Russian weapon could neutralize these assets. As tensions between Russia and the U.S. continue to rise, it is crucial for the international community to monitor this situation closely and work towards maintaining peace and stability in space. And that seems fine, right? That seems like something we could do. But of course, who do we believe with the information? Is this, again, maybe some trumped up BS to make us, again, pass a particular bill in the Senate? And maybe this just goes away in the news cycle and we never talk about this again. Or again, is this maybe is something in space, as they said with the ufologists and whatnot? Now, here's a few examples of exactly what I'm talking about. We're fracturing realities. And we know this is happening in real time. We're seeing this happen if we're paying any kind of attention. And it is a wild thing, okay? But when it comes to actual existential risks and geopolitics and, madmen with nuclear buttons and things like this, it's what's up, Richard says it's a distraction. Yeah, there you go. Is it a distraction? And that's what I mean. Okay, so here's a couple of examples of what I'm talking about tonight. And I want to know where you sit sort of on this spectrum, because there's a lot of ways to consider it, okay? Let's see. Let me find the thing real quick, because it's very good. So how about this? So the ufologist, in this sense, thinks this is intrigued but dismissive. The ufologist sees mainstream concern as obscuring the bigger picture. Quote, sure, ASAT weapons, the usual saber rattling. But those in the know recognize this is another distraction from the real escalation happening under our noses, an increase in covert extraterrestrial technology testing. They'll spin the theories of how Russia isn't developing anything new, just reverse engineering crashed saucers. And much to my surprise, by the way, that narrative was spinning around on Twitter yesterday with, the usual suspects, the people you would expect to be like, hey, I knew it, aliens, aliens, and but come on now. I mean, so okay, that's the thing, right? So do I know? No, I don't have those answers, but I don't think every damn thing that rolls out in the news cycle is aliens, and that's, I think, where we're talking about these fractured realities is that we need to look at this and understand that we're so. Like, I don't know, it's a double-edged sword, as they always say, as I always say, as we always talk about, is that these tools and these ideas are fantastic. But when you fracture reality so much that even like simple things like geopolitics and saber rattling and, the most basic of war propaganda that many of us could have picked out, let's say 5 years ago or 10 years ago or 20 years ago when they only had a certain level of, interesting ideas or theories on a ABC, NBC, or CBS. Well, now suddenly you have all the doom mongers on YouTube and everywhere else just saying, I knew it, the end of the world is here. This is the ultimate false flag invasion of the alien blue beam project. And right, you get me? And if you've known anything about me, you listen to me for any amount of time, I get eternally frustrated with the doom mongers because they do this for attention. They do this because they know that there's some sort of like baked in fear porn that we have to find. We have to chase the doom. We need the doom. Give us the doom. We want the doom. We want the doom now. And there's people out there willing to just drop it to you. Whispers of World War III. We knew it. Russia has these actual space weapons, and they're bringing it to bear. It's going to be pointed at the United States and all of North America by next Tuesday, right? This type of stuff. Should we expect a response from the United States and the NATO nations? Yes, this is the world we live in, and this is why this is eternally frustrating. But then, of course, on the other hand, like I said, we get the instance of the actual ufologist, right? And it's that's not a thing. It's the other thing. It's this thing. It's not. It's so what is it? So basically, that's the question tonight. What is this? What are we looking at? Is it propaganda? Is it aliens? Is it like a way to squeeze through a funding bill for Ukraine? Is it, a political stagemanship? Is it, what is it? I don't even know anymore. Are they being real about this? And that becomes the real part of the problem is when you have like 10 actual possibly legitimate things that might be real, then, well, we have a problem, don't we? We got a massive problem here because I don't really know what to do in that regard. Here's another one. So the political propagandist might say this. And again, so where are you on the spectrum and what is your theory on what's actually happening? Okay, that's exactly where we're at. So the ufologist would say, as we said, the political propagandist would say this. Their eyes gleaming with potential. The propagandist spins into domestic fear-mongering. Quote, this isn't about satellites, folks. This is about America under attack. While our politicians line their pockets with Ukraine cash, our enemies prepare to blind us, cripple our communications. It's time to demand real leadership, someone who will put America's safety first. Yes, the political propagandist. What about the warmonger? Of course, we got plenty of those, and not just the political realm, but many of those in the real world as well. The warmonger would say something like this. This development is pure vindication to the warmonger. Quote, see, just as I predicted, Russia can't be trusted. They've always lusted for domination. Appeasing them was a fool's errand. Preemptive strikes are our only course. It's them or us. And a crippled USA means Western civilization fails. Yeah, right. The conspiracy theorists would say something like this. To them, this isn't about competing nations, but rather clandestine global powers. Quote, Russia, a pawn. Don't you see? This weapon is the excuse they need for the next staged event. Mark my words, within weeks, a vital satellite malfunctions. Global internet will vanish. It's all part of their control grid agenda. The Great Reset is finally here. You start to see what I mean? Like you can really kind of just spin some news. I mean, it is for sure political propaganda, wartime propaganda, without a doubt. But suddenly now, we're not just sniffing, I smell a rat. We're like, okay, I smell a rat, but now there's like these fractured possibilities of what the hell's actually happening. And to me, like I said, I think that's massively problematic. We can't even agree or disagree on like the basics of a problem here. And so I don't know, like I always say, try to keep it one foot in the real world, keep an open mind, but not so open that your brain falls out, stuff like this. But I think we may be in trouble if we can't actually sort of just at least coalesce our mind about what the true issue might be. And that's where my mind's at. I'm just like I said, it didn't surprise me to see the ufologists being like, yep, UFOs, yep, for sure, UFOs. They're like, we told you so, right? And it's like, wait, though, I mean, we don't even know if what they're saying is real. Like, it may be a lie to begin with. So how is it UFOs? You know what I mean? And this is the type of stuff. It's like, come on now. How about this? The anti-imperialists would say this. This fuels their deep-rooted suspicions, of course, and they say, quote, the U.S. military-industrial complex strikes again. This is engineered panic. They need a new space race to justify bloated defense budgets while Americans go hungry. Remember those non-existent WMDs in Iraq? Don't fall for it again. Resist their manufactured fear, right? Okay. Anyway, so, and even so, we've talked about the environmentalist on here as a quasi-terrorist throwing pea soup on the Mona Lisa and gluing themselves to roads and whatnot. But of course, look, I'm not saying we shouldn't take care of the planet. Surely we should. But doing those things, is it really bringing some sort of semblance of goodness to the planet? I'm not so sure. But and of course, not environmentalism as you would expect a tree hugger. Like we said in the past, we talked a lot about this. But the idea of the environmentalist as what is it? The end is nigh, like the doom environmentalist. It's like, we only have 9 months and we're past the point of no return, which we've been hearing for years and years and years. Anyway, so the environmentalist, for them, space itself is the victim here, of course, because, quote, it's always the planet and humanity as a whole that loses. Orbital warfare? Forget the fallout on Earth. Think of the space debris it will generate, destroying future exploration, trapping us here to choke on our own mess. This madness has to stop because, of course, the climate catastrophe has arrived, and it's not coming from where you would expect. It's coming from space. Anyway, all right. So basically, look, we're fracturing realities to the point where I think that, and this may be by design is really what I think, is that we can't even wrap our mind around sort of simple ideas because, one, we can't trust the source. Our own government's kind of spitting this information out. Do we even know if it's real? The second thing is, okay, they're like, okay, this is immediate. We have to declassify this information to the rest of Congress so we can have a debate right now and vote on what to do right now. I mean, that sounds almost like sort of wartime, style footing. And it's like, okay, so it's that extreme. But then the reporters ask the guy, well, okay, what kind of danger are we in? And he's like, oh, no, it's not like that. Don't worry, the Martians aren't going to land on your lawn tonight, type of stuff. And so it's like, okay, so which is it, right? Which is it? You can have it one way, you can't have it the other way. It's got to be actionable immediately or not. And it's got to be dangerous immediately or not, or in the very near future. And then it turns out that some of the information that gets leaked, of course, notice, when they want things to leak, things leak. When they don't want things to leak, things do not leak. And that's massively problematic because, of course, we're being propagandized. They're hiding information from us. So what do we expect it to believe? Again, when I saw this yesterday on the radio and heard it on the radio, I was like, okay, so what's the angle, right? What do they want? And anyway, so basically, where do you stand in that spectrum? Are you the doom-mongering environmentalist? Are you the conspiracy theorist? Are the ufologist? Ancient astronaut theorists say yes, because that's literally the only thing that kind of comes out of a staunch ufologist. Everything has to do with aliens and UFOs. Or is this just a bunch of more wartime propaganda nonsense? I don't know. I don't really know. And that's exactly why we need to talk about this, because as usual, look, we're talking about a great many things, and you have to be you to have an opinion. This is your world too, and that's what we talk about. That's why we do it. All right, so that's what's on my mind tonight. Again, I'm calling this mistaken identity because, well, I think the mistaken identity is we don't even know what the fractured reality has become. Is it a lie to begin with? Is it the UFOs? Is it some sort of actual space bombardment weapon that's been deployed? Or is it 6 months out or a year out or 10 years out? Or is this complete phony nonsense to press some spending bill to send foreign money elsewhere yet again? I don't really know. but what do you know? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. We got, looks like Iowax. Hey, Matthew, Iowax is first. We're going to go to Joseph, then we'll go to Matthew in Colorado and your calls as well. What do you know about what's the space weapons stuff? And I'm calling this exploiting chaos because it feels like that's exactly what this is. When it comes to wartime propaganda, and we can't even trust the original source, whether it's true or false, reality starts to fracture incredibly quickly. So where do you stand on this? And exactly how concerning is it that we're both in an election year and sort of in a wartime propaganda going down with all this stuff, of course, in Israel and what is it? I can't remember the damn things. Israel and Ukraine and all the rest. There's a ton of things happening, okay? And not only that, then there's like the specter of Taiwan looming and, election season because you don't really know how hard you can push because you don't know what sort of a like random wild card can get elected. But I don't even know because that's exactly what I'm saying. If the information in the beginning is flawed or let's say manufactured in some way, then there might be nothing to see here. It might be something put out just to kind of get attention or, cause again a distraction. Like I'm not beyond that, of course, but when there's so many possibilities that are, even mildly plausible, let's say, within the realm of, 15 or 20 percentile, that's kind of, maybe likely. And so who really knows what's going on in the world we live in? And is it problematic that we actually have sort of all of these fractured realities? And when it comes to this type of stuff, and I think that may be, as I said, by design. So what are your thoughts on this? Where do you stand in, or what would you label yourself? Are you a conspiracy theorist? Are you a ufologist? Are you a realist that wishes we got the truth? That's really where I'm standing right now. But what do you know about it?